Mia was a woman you'd expect to see on the cover of a magazine. Now waiting tables at the Irma, that old hotel Buffalo Bill built in Cody, Wyoming. I'd just come in from horsepacking in the Wind River Range, was looking for some lunch, and there she was. So beautiful, I could hardly look at her when she took my order. I was her last customer. The Irma restaurant was quiet. So after she brought me my food, she took off her apron, slipped into the booth across from me with a beer in her hand, and started poaching French fries off my plate. In the time of mythology, men would have fought wars over her. She told me she was an English major, spending the summer out west before last year in school. I told her about the outfit I worked for in Cody, and I had a week off before I had to go out again. After lunch, we went to a swimming hole I know on the North Fork of the Shoshone. She took off all of her clothes, telling me how shy she was, and I knew I was in more trouble than I could handle. Me and I spent that week together, camping out, swimming in the Shoshone, hiking in Yellowstone, just cooking out in her backyard. I only went back to the house the outfit had for its guide to get clean clothes, and every day I fell more and more in love with Mia. The day I left for the Bighorns, we had lunch at the Irma again, and she talked about all the places she wanted us to go when I got back. Then I left for the trailhead. 3 weeks later, I walked into the Irma. Mia was gone. She'd quit the hotel, moved out of the house. Nobody had any idea where she'd gone. After a week sitting at the bar at the Irma, wondering what could have happened, I left out again to take some lawyers into the Tetons. Now, my idea that Mia would be back in Cody when I got off that trip, just wishful thinking. She was as gone as a person could get. Now, by then it was September, and I didn't have anything else scheduled with the outfit that fall. So I packed up my truck, drove to the town in southern Illinois where Mia told me she went to school. I thought if I hung around the English department, I was bound to find Mia sooner or later. 4 months later, I was still looking. At Christmas night, I was up late, sitting in the window of the little garage apartment I had rented, watching the snow fall through the pools of light under the street lamps along the road below. I was as lost as I'd ever been. And not because I hadn't found Mia, but because I couldn't figure out how it was that I had spent so much time, 1,000 miles from everything I knew, looking for a woman I'd known for a week. But back in Cody, I knew who I was. But after all that time in a big city under that heaviest sky, I couldn't remember that person anymore. And just then, a coyote stepped out of the darkness into the closest light and looked up at me in the window. For the longest time, it watched me watching it. Then headlights pulled into the street. Brake lights came on. Car started fishtailing. Its headlights sweeping back and forth across the road as it skidded toward the coyote, but the coyote never moved. It was as still as stone as the car straightened out and skidded right into it, knocking it out of the light. Brake lights went off, car straightened out, disappeared into the dark and snow. I went down to look for the coyote. I didn't find it, or even any blood. And all the while I was looking, the fallen snow was erasing every sign that it had ever been there. After a while, I quit looking. Just stood in the snow, wondering if I had seen that coyote, or any coyote ever before. I wasn't even sure anymore if there was such a thing as coyotes. Maybe they were just some idea I had about wild things and wild places. When I got cold, I went back upstairs, packed my things, left a note with my rent money for my landlady, and I started out for home.